The unwanted heir. The stars above Zephyra sparkled like tiny fires in the dark sky. It was the most important night in the royal palace. The night of choosing. Inside the golden hall, music played. Dancers floated across shining floors. Noble guests from 10 alien planets stood tall in decorated robes. They had come to see the princess, to choose her, to marry her. But no one had stepped forward. Not a single one. At the center of the room stood Princess Sari, small, silent, and alone. Her silver crown looked too big for her small head. Her violet eyes scanned the crowd, hoping, waiting, but the alien males only whispered among themselves. She's too short. She's not strong enough. She's not worthy of the throne. She's too human-looking. Each word cut her like a blade. Her father, King Draylen, stood beside her, forcing a smile. Her mother, Queen Vea, squeezed her hand. But they knew the truth. No prince wanted her, and the entire galaxy had just watched her rejection live on interplanetary broadcast. Later that night, Sari sat alone in the sky garden. She removed her crown and held it in her lap. "I'm not enough," she whispered to herself. "Not for them. Not for anyone." A gentle breeze moved through the glowing trees. Her planet was known for beauty, music, and peace, but not for strength. And Sari was even softer than most. She was born too small. Her skin had strange, pale patterns unlike other Zephyrians. Her voice was quiet, her body weak. The elders called her a gentle flower, but in the world of power-hungry empires, no one wanted a flower. Suddenly, the sky above flashed red. She looked up, startled. Something burned through the clouds, a ship spinning, crashing, heading straight for the forest near the mountain. A human ship. Zephyra's rules were strict. No alien craft may land without permission, especially not humans. They were seen as dangerous, unpredictable, primitive. But Sari's heart raced with curiosity. Without thinking, she grabbed her cloak and ran into the shadows. The forest was quiet and dark. Her royal guards didn't know she had escaped. She followed the trail of smoke and broken trees until she found it. Half buried in the earth, metal twisted, lights flickering, a human escape pod. Its door was broken. She stepped closer, heartbeat wild. Then, movement, a figure inside, alive. She pulled back her hood and approached carefully. He was lying on the floor, covered in dirt and blood. His chest rose and fell. He was breathing. A human soldier. Young, stronger looking than any Zephyrian male. Hair dark, skin bruised. But his eyes were open. He looked at her and gasped. "You're real?" he whispered. She stepped back, unsure. "I thought I was dead," he said, voice weak. "And now I see an angel." Sari didn't speak. No one had ever looked at her like that before. He reached out a hand but collapsed again. She rushed forward and caught him before his head hit the floor. That night, Sari stayed in the cave near the pod. She made a small fire using forest stones. She wrapped the human's wounds in plant leaves that healed cuts quickly. He woke up once, asked for water, and smiled when she gave it to him. "You saved me," he said. She looked away. "You would have died." "I still might," he whispered, "but at least now, I died in the arms of someone beautiful." Sari's face turned warm. Her own people had called her weak, strange, and unwanted. But this man, this human, saw something else in her. She didn't know who he was or why he had crashed, but she knew one thing. She didn't want to let him go. Far away, back at the palace, her absence was noticed. A royal guard found her missing cloak near the sky garden, and one elder, sharp-eyed and suspicious, looked toward the forest with cold fear in his heart. "The princess has done something foolish," he whispered. He turned to the shadows. "Send the seekers. Search the forest now." In the cave, Sari sat beside the fire, watching the human sleep. She didn't even know his name, but for the first time in her life, someone had chosen her. The Stranger in the Forest. The forest of Zephyra was not quiet anymore. Bright lights moved between the trees. Royal guards in black armor swept the shadows with electric staffs and scanner drones. They were not looking for an enemy. They were looking for the princess. In the hidden cave behind the waterfall, Sari sat by the fire. The human soldier, still, weak, still nameless, slept beside her on a bed of moss and healing leaves. His wounds had stopped bleeding, but his body trembled. She watched him, unsure of what to feel. In her palace, she was invisible. Here, next to him, she was someone. Suddenly, he groaned. His eyes opened slowly. Sari leaned forward. "You're safe." He blinked, confused. "You again, I thought I dreamed you." "You fell from the sky," she said. "Right into my forest." He smiled faintly. "Then I'm glad I crashed here." As the sun rose, he sat up and winced. In pain, Sari helped him drink from a crystal bottle. He looked into her eyes and said, "Name." She tilted her head. "What?" "Your name. I want to know who saved me." She hesitated. "Sari." He repeated it gently. "Sari, that's beautiful." She asked, "And you?" He gave a tired smile. "Jace." For a few hours they talked. She asked about Earth, about oceans and cities and sky towers taller than mountains. He asked about her world, the royal court, her strange glowing hair, the golden trees. But she did not tell him the truth. She didn't say she was a princess. She didn't say the forest was forbidden to outsiders. And she didn't say that people were hunting her. In the distance, a guard drone passed over the trees. Sari heard the soft whir and stood quickly. "Stay here," she whispered. "Do not move, no matter what." Jace nodded. She pulled her hood on and stepped outside. Minutes later, she met one of the royal guards, a tall Zephyrian male with sharp yellow eyes. He bowed. "Your Highness, we feared something had happened." She forced a smile. "I needed air." He frowned. "In the cursed forest?" "I like the silence," she replied. He looked behind her suspiciously. "Did you see smoke?" She shook her head. "Just fireflies." The guard stepped closer. "Some say a human ship fell here last night." Her heart raced. "I saw nothing." He stared at her for a long time, then nodded slowly. "Very well. Return to the palace. It's not safe here." "I will," she lied. When she returned to the cave, Jace looked at her with concern. "You okay?" "They're close," she said. "Too close." He struggled to sit. "Then I need to leave. I won't bring danger to you." But she stopped him. "No," she whispered. "Let them call me foolish. I'd rather protect someone who sees me than obey those who never did." He looked at her carefully. "You're not like the stories they tell about your kind." She smiled sadly. "They say the same about humans." As night came, Jace told her more. He was not just a soldier. He had once been a peace envoy, sent to negotiate with alien leaders. But someone betrayed his crew. His ship was attacked and shot down. He had no memory of how he survived, only that he woke up in fire, then saw her face. "The first thing I saw after pain, I was you." Sari looked away, her cheeks warm. She fell asleep beside him, for the first time without fear. But deep in the forest, something else had landed. Not another ship, but something far older. Buried beneath roots and stone, a device blinked to life, its sensors tracking two life forms, one Zephyrian, one human. Far away, in a secret command room deep under Zephyra's palace, a figure smiled coldly. "So, she found him," the voice said. "The prophecy begins." Back in the cave, Jace looked at Sari as she slept beside the fire. He reached into his suit pocket and pulled out a torn piece of cloth. A symbol was stitched on it, one Sari would recognize if she ever saw it. the royal seal of Zephyra, and below it a warning burned into the edges. Protect the flame even if she doesn't know she's the key. The bond that should not be. The sun never fully rose on Zephyra's eastern edge. The mist always hung low there, wrapping the forests in silver shadows. And deep in those shadows, two souls from different worlds were beginning to share one heart. Jace's strength had returned. He walked more now, helped Sari gather food, even repaired the communication system on his broken suit. Yet every time she asked about the symbol she glimpsed on the torn cloth he carried, her royal seal, he changed the subject. She didn't push, but she noticed and wondered. Sari, too, was changing. She smiled more, laughed more. She forgot the voices that once said she was too small, too soft, too strange. With Jace, she didn't feel broken. She felt seen, understood, even important. That morning, Jace carved a symbol into the bark of a glowing tree. 3 stars, 1 flame. It was from Earth, a mark used by old explorers. What does it mean? Sari asked. It means we found something worth protecting. She touched the symbol. Is that what I am to you? He didn't answer with words. He simply took her hand and held it like it was made of glass. But peace never stays long in the life of a princess, especially not one hiding a secret human. Back at the palace, the High Elder stood in the king's chamber, holding a silver device. We tracked her energy signature to the cursed forest, he said. Queen Vea paled. She's not alone, is she? The Elder showed a glowing map. 2 dots. 1 Zephyrian, 1 foreign. Bring her back, the king growled. And if she refuses, use force. By nightfall, Sari felt something in the wind, a shift, a warning. Jace noticed her silence. What's wrong, he asked. They'll come for me soon. Then we run. She shook her head. There's nowhere we can go. Jace reached into his pocket, pulled out the cloth again. This time she saw it clearly. The royal seal. Her eyes widened. Where did you get this? He hesitated. I didn't lie to you. Not fully. Answer me. Jace stepped back, ashamed. I was sent here to find the flame. Sari's heart pounded. What flame? You. He explained everything. A prophecy told in whispers across dying galaxies. Of a princess born too small to rule, too gentle to fight, but whose blood carried something ancient, something human, and if she bonded with one of Earth's chosen, she would become more powerful than anyone could imagine. Her destiny was to unite galaxies or destroy them. Sari stepped away from him. Tears welled in her eyes. You were never here by accident. He looked down. No. But I stayed because of you. You were sent to control me. I was sent to protect you, but I fell in love instead. She shook her head, backing away. No, you're just like the others. You see me as a tool. No. His voice cracked. I see you. Before she could reply, the trees around them lit with red beams. Royal guards surrounded the cave, weapons raised. The Elder stepped forward, voice cold. Princess Sari, you will return now. The outsider will be executed. Jace raised his arms. I'm not here to hurt her. Sari stood frozen. Then she stepped between them. No one touches him. The Elder narrowed his eyes. Then you betray your blood. Sari turned to Jace, her voice barely a whisper. Do you trust me? He nodded. Always. She took his hand and held it high. I claim the ancient right, she shouted. The flame bond. Gasps echoed through the forest. No. The Elder hissed. You cannot. I can, she said, fire in her voice. It is law. By ancient tradition, a royal princess could form a soul bond with a chosen outsider, but doing so would forfeit her claim to the throne and risk death from the council. But Sari didn't care. She finally saw clearly. If her world rejected her, then she would choose her own. The guards looked to the king's messenger. He hesitated, then activated his holocom. The image of King Draylin appeared. He looked tired, worn, but when he saw Sari holding Jace's hand, he didn't shout. He just nodded and spoke the old words. Then let the flame decide. As the guard stepped back, Sari and Jace stood alone once more, bonded by choice, by danger, by something deeper than destiny. But above them, in the high tower of the royal temple, a shadow watched, its eyes not of this world, and it whispered in a language long dead, "The flame has been lit, now the storm will come." Whispers of a forgotten prophecy. The jungle air was thick with mist and silence. Only the sound of falling leaves followed Sari and Jace as they made their way through the ancient paths. Behind them, the royal court was in chaos. The guards had been ordered not to chase, but someone else surely would. Sari had broken a sacred tradition. She had bonded with an outsider. She had chosen love over throne. Now, all eyes in the galaxy would turn toward her, some with hope, others with hatred. Jace moved beside her, scanning with his handheld tracker. "There's something ahead," he said. A structure, made from stone and metal. Sari looked up. "The Temple of Taharn. My nurse used to tell me stories about it when I was little." Jace smiled. "Good stories?" Sari shook her head. "She said it was cursed, buried for a reason." He raised a brow. "So we're going straight in?" Sari smiled faintly. "We always were the foolish kind." They stepped into a clearing where the trees opened around a wide, broken dome. The walls were covered in symbols, half Zephyrian, half unknown. Roots had cracked the stone. Vines hung like curtains, but something deep inside glowed. Softly. Sari placed her hand on the stone door. It moved. Not with technology, but with recognition. The door opened inward, revealing darkness and light at once. Inside, the air felt ancient, cold, sacred. Statues of beings long forgotten stood around a circular chamber. Some had Zephyrian features, others were unmistakably human. Sari stared in shock. This place, it holds both of us. Jace stepped forward to an old stone altar. He wiped off the dust and found an inscription glowing beneath it. He read aloud, "From fire and dust, the flame shall rise. Chosen not by blood, but by heart," Sari whispered. "It's the prophecy." She touched the wall behind the altar, and her hand lit up, a flash of blue, a soft hum. Then, the wall became a window. Inside the stone appeared an image, a memory, recorded long ago. A tall Zephyrian woman stood beside a human warrior. They held a child, their child. The voice echoed, "When hatred burns the stars and no crown can calm the storm, she will rise, not to rule, but to heal." The vision vanished. Sari stood still, eyes wide. "That woman looked like my mother." Jace stared. "And the man looked like me." She turned to him, shaking. "What if this isn't just a story? What if I'm not just royalty, but the product of something long hidden?" Jace stepped closer. "Then it means you were always meant to be more than a princess." She held her head. "I was told I was weak, unfit. But now, I see why. I was never meant to rule their way. I was meant to change it." Suddenly, a crash echoed from above. Stone shattered. They looked up. A dark figure stood in the broken window of the dome, wearing ancient armor, its face hidden beneath a silver mask. The voice was deep, layered, and not fully alive. "You were warned," it said. Sari stepped back. "Who are you?" "I am the Keeper," it replied. "I watched your line from the beginning. I guarded the flame." Jace raised his weapon. "Then why are you here now?" "To stop her," the Keeper said coldly, "before she burns the stars." Lightning cracked outside. The jungle screamed as a wave of energy exploded from the dome. Sari was thrown to the ground. Jace covered her with his body as debris fell. When they looked up, the keeper was gone. But his voice lingered. The blood you carry is not pure. The bond you've made will break the balance. Run, little queen, or watch your world fall. Hours later, Sari sat alone in the middle of the ruined temple. The vision of her mother still burned in her mind, and so did the warning. Jace joined her, holding something he found near the altar, a crystal shaped like a flame. Inside it swirled blue and gold light. He handed it to her. This is what the keeper was guarding. She held it close to her chest. It's part of me. Then she looked up at him. I'm scared. He took her hand gently. So am I. Outside in the forest shadows, a different figure watched them. Its face was half machine, half bone. It whispered one word into the wind. Awaken, and somewhere in the galaxy old powers stirred. The Wrath of Kings. The palace of Zephyra had never been so silent. The throne room, once filled with music and laughter, now echoed with cold footsteps and nervous whispers. Every noble eye turned toward the high seat, where King Draylen sat, with a heavy crown and a heavier heart. His daughter, Princess Sari, had vanished, not kidnapped, not lost. She had run, and worse, she had chosen a human. The people are restless, said the High Elder, bowing low. Your silence weakens the throne. Draylen gritted his teeth. She was my heir. Now she is your shame, the Elder replied. The king rose, his voice deep. Then bring her back. Bring them both. Alive if possible. But if she resists, he paused. The room waited. Do what must be done. Far from the throne, deep in the jungle, Sari stood with Jace at the top of a mountain path. Below them lay the hidden city of the ancients, ruins untouched by time, glowing with strange blue light. She had followed the prophecy this far. Now she would finish it. Inside the ancient gates, they found a hall of mirrors, each one showing a piece of the past. Sari saw her mother again, this time not smiling but running, hiding, carrying a child. She turned to Jace. She was afraid of the court, of what I might become. Jace placed a hand on her shoulder. And yet she didn't run from you, she gave you a chance. Sari touched the mirror. Then I must do the same for my people. But destiny never arrives without a price. Without warning, a sharp sound split the air. A weapon fired. Jace fell to the ground, blood on his side. Sari screamed. From the trees, masked royal guards surrounded them, led by a tall figure in dark robes. It was her cousin, Prince Kael. He stepped forward with a cold smile. Sari, he said. The flame has gone wild. She held Jace's body, her voice shaking. Why would you shoot him? To save the crown, Kael replied. You bonded with an outsider. You brought shame, chaos. You left me no choice. You want the throne. He nodded. And I will take it. Sari stood slowly. Her hands glowed with blue energy, the same that lived inside the flame crystal. I won't let you. Kael raised his blade. Then you'll die like the creature you've become. The guards charged. Jace, bleeding but still breathing, threw a smoke charge. In the confusion, Sari unleashed the flame within her. Her body lit with golden fire. The ground cracked. Wind howled. The jungle shook. A blast of light sent the guards flying. Kael stumbled backward, stunned. You're not supposed to have that power. Sari stepped forward, eyes glowing. I'm not supposed to be anything. And yet here I am. She raised her hand, and Kael vanished in a burst of blinding flame. Later, she carried Jace through the forest, tears mixing with blood and ash. He looked at her, weak but alive. You saved me, she whispered. You gave me the strength to. He smiled. That's all I wanted. They returned to the edge of the capital. The city was burning with protest. The people had heard of the flame bond. Some cheered her name. Others cursed it, but Sari did not hide. She marched through the city gates, Jace at her side, and stood before the palace. The king watched her approach from the balcony. Behind him, the elders whispered fearfully. She raised her voice. I am Princess Sari of Zephyra, daughter of peace, carrier of flame, and I will no longer be ruled by fear. The people listened. The guards lowered their weapons, and the king said nothing, because deep in his heart, he knew. The age of crowns was over. The age of choice had begun. But far above in the orbit of Zephyra, a black ship drifted in silence. Inside it, the keeper stared at a glowing map of stars. The flame had awakened. Now the balance would break, and war would return. When loyalty awakens. The capital of Zephyra trembled beneath the twin moons, not from war, from decision. Princess Sari had returned. Not as a girl in a silk crown, but as the flame-bonded soul of prophecy. Some called her a hero, others called her a danger. But everyone watched. Inside the throne hall, King Drayland paced. Queen Vea sat in silence. She returned. The king muttered. With the outsider. She returned. The queen replied. Because we gave her no place to belong. The elders stood in a circle. They were afraid of her blood, of her bond, of her truth. She must be tried, one said. She must be silenced, said another. But in the shadows of the room, a voice spoke up. It was the High Commander of the Royal Guard. No, he said, she must be heard. At sunrise, the city gathered at the Hall of Judgment. Sari stood in the center of the circle. Jace sat nearby, his body wrapped in bandages, weak but alive. Around them stood thousands, nobles, guards, citizens. The king took his seat. The court demands an answer, he said. Why did you betray your people? Sari looked up, calm. I did not betray them. I became them. Murmurs spread. She continued. You feared me because I was different. Because I was born small, soft. Not like you. But in truth, I was more. My blood carries two legacies, yours and his. She pointed to Jace. This bond does not weaken me. It saved me. And it can save us all. One elder stood. She broke the sacred law. Sari raised the flame crystal in her hand. This law? She asked as it glowed in gold light. This was written before the stars even knew our names. I carry the truth you buried, the unity you feared. She walked to the center, placed the crystal on the stone platform and stepped back. It began to glow brighter, pulsing with a rhythm that made every soul in the crowd stop breathing. Then, a hologram erupted, a vision of the past. Two royal ancestors stood side by side, one Zephyrian, one human, both bound by a light that looked exactly like Sari's flame. There, voices echoed, this bond is not weakness. It is the bridge between galaxies, the end of war, and the beginning of everything. The vision faded. Silence returned, until a single guard dropped his weapon, then another, then 100. They fell, to their knees, for the flame, for the truth, for the princess. But not all hearts bowed. From the upper balcony, a sharp voice screamed, You would kneel to a half-blood? Prince Kael had returned, scarred, burned, furious. He held a dark blade and moved fast. Leaping toward Jace, Sari screamed, but before Kael could strike, someone stepped between them. Queen Vea. Kael froze. Mother? He said. She looked into his eyes. Not with anger, with sadness. You were not born to destroy, she whispered. But you chose to. And she stepped aside. Sari moved. The flame rose from her chest. Kael tried to fight. But this time, her power wasn't wild. It was focused, controlled. A wave of golden energy swept across the hall and Kael vanished in light. Gone. Sari stood still, breathing hard. Everyone waited. Then, applause broke the silence. The people of Zephyra rose to their feet. For the first time in history, they cheered not for a warrior, not for a king, but for a girl who had been told she would never matter. Later that night, Sari walked with Jace through the garden, stars above, fireflies around them. Peace. Real peace. He looked at her. You changed the world. She smiled. I didn't do it alone. He touched her hand. Will you still need me when peace gets boring? She laughed softly. Especially then. He paused. I need to return to Earth soon. There's something there I must finish. She nodded. Then go. He looked surprised. You're not coming? She took a deep breath. I have to stay, for now, but I'll be waiting. He leaned in close. I'll find my way back. But high above them, in the dark silence of orbit, the Keeper watched. The balance had tipped, and for every flame born in light, there is always a shadow. The princess and the outcast. Months passed. Peace returned to Zephyra, not the kind written in treaties, but the kind built day by day. Princess Sari had become more than a royal name. She had become a symbol of unity, of courage, of choice. No crown rested on her head now. She wore no robes. No throne stood behind her. But when she walked through the streets, people bowed, not from fear, but respect. She rebuilt the temple of the ancients into a new kind of school, a place where humans and aliens could learn side by side. History was no longer hidden. Prophecy no longer feared. She led not by force but by flame. And yet, every night she looked to the stars, waiting for one ship, one man. Jace had returned to Earth to warn his people, to share what he had learned, to prepare for what he had seen in orbit. What he feared still lingered in the dark, but months turned into seasons. And Sari began to wonder, had fate already taken him from her? One morning, she woke to silence. No birds, no breeze, just stillness. She stepped outside and saw the sun swallowed by clouds. Then came the shadow. Huge, silent, black as space, a ship unlike any ever seen. Not human, not alien, not ancient, something else. The ground trembled. People screamed. Lights across the capital went dark. Sari stood, tall on the palace bridge alone, her hand glowing faintly with flame. From the ship, a figure descended, not the Keeper, not Kale, but something worse. It had no name, no form, only voice, and it whispered directly into her mind. The bond broke the gate. You lit the spark. Now the old gods will rise again. Before she could reply, a beam of black energy shot toward her. She raised her hands, deflected it with golden light, but it cracked her shield. The flames inside her pulsed wildly. She could not stop this alone. Then, another blast came. Not from the creature, from the sky. A silver ship roared down. Its weapons struck the shadow. The beast screamed. The ship landed, and Jace stepped out, armor scorched, face tired but eyes burning. He ran to her. I told you I'd find my way back. She didn't speak. She just grabbed his hand. Together they faced the storm. The battle that followed was never written in any history scroll. No camera recorded it. No bard sang it. But those who saw it never forgot. The Princess of Two Bloods. The outcast of two worlds, side by side. Their flames merged. Gold and silver. Their voices rose together. We are not your weapons. We are your ending. When the final blast echoed across the sky, the shadow shattered into stars, and peace returned. For real. Forever? No one knew. But for now, yes. Later that night, as the fireflies danced again in the royal gardens, Sari and Jace stood on a quiet balcony. She looked up at him. You came back. I always will. he said. She took his hand and placed something in it. A new crystal, half blue, half silver. Alive. A seed of their flame. It belongs to both of us, she whispered. To what? We created. He looked at it, then at her. No more thrones? She laughed softly. No more chains. The stars above Zephyra burned a little brighter that night, and across the galaxy a new tale began to spread. Not about war, not about kings, but about a tiny princess, once rejected by every alien noble, who became the future of the stars. Because one human man saw her not as a mistake, but as everything the galaxy needed.